Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be looking at the Champions League round of 16 fixtures. I'm going to be previewing some of the games and I'm going to be giving my prediction as to which teams would progress to the next round. So let's get straight into the video. To start things off, let's look at Galatasaray versus Liverpool. I think Liverpool have been hit or miss this season. I think they've struggled with injuries. They've been knocked out of several competitions this season already, and they haven't been really good going forward. Star players like Mohamed Salah have not been good this season, and they've been also hit with injuries to other key players. Now, right now, I think Galatasaray have the potential to knock Liverpool out. They have lots of quick players who can threaten and hurt Liverpool's defense. So for this matchup, I think I'm predicting Galatasaray to get past Liverpool and proceed to the next round. Next is the Bayern versus Atalanta game. Now, Bayern have been one of the favorites to win the Champions League this season with the amount of quality players that they have going forward. Players like Harry Kane, Olise, Luis Diaz, Gnabry, Musiala, and Karl Leonard. These players can really do damage to any team that they face. Now, although Atalanta are the underdogs in this fixture, they could be looking to cause an upset versus Bayern. But unfortunately, I have Bayern going through to the next round. I think Bayern are just too strong for Atalanta to actually cause an upset. Now next is the Atletico Madrid versus Tottenham game, and I think this has the potential to be one of the most one-sided games amongst all the fixtures. So simply put, Tottenham are not that great this season. One could say they are even horrible. Right now, they are currently in a relegation battle, and Atletico could end up winning both home and away when they play against Tottenham. Atleti have the better players, the better structure, the confidence, the coach, everything else when compared to Tottenham. And Tottenham right now do not look like a team that knows exactly what they're doing. So I'm predicting Atletico Madrid to go through in this round. Up next is Bayer Leverkusen versus Arsenal. Now Arsenal are first in the Premier League. They finished first in the Champions League group stages. They are currently favourites to win the Champions League as well. Now Mikel Arteta will be looking to make a statement in the knockout rounds. And when you look at how Arsenal play and how structured their team is, it makes it clear why they are actually favourites for the Champions League this season. On the other hand, when you look at Leverkusen, they haven't been the same since Xabi Alonso left the club. They've changed through a couple of managers and they haven't really been looking convincing. So I expect Arsenal to actually beat Leverkusen and proceed to the next round comfortably. Up next is Bodo Glimt versus Sporting CP. Now Bodo Glimt is actually one of the big surprises in the Champions League this season. They've actually beaten teams like Atletico Madrid at home and even Manchester City this season in the group stages. They also knocked out Inter Milan in the playoff. So Bodo Glimt this season, they're kind of making a name for themselves. However, Sporting CP also qualified through the top 8, but I think Bodo Glimt could actually get the job done and beat Sporting CP to progress to the next stage in the Champions League. Up next is PSG versus Chelsea, the reigning UCL champions versus the world champions. Now, bear in mind, PSG this season have not been as good as they were or as impressive as they were last season. They've lost some noticeable games against Bayern Munich, against Sporting CP, and just recently against Monaco in the league. They are currently fighting for Ligue 1. Even though they are first in the league, they are not really looking convincing. However, a factor like injury might be at play here. Questions over Dembele's fitness over the two legs. And the midfield of PSG also have some injuries to players like Fabian Ruiz and Joao Neves. So PSG right now are not looking their best or their strongest going into these fixtures. Chelsea on the other hand aren't really at their best either. They're currently chasing a top 4 finish, and they've also lost some noticeable games this season, as well as the games against Arsenal, Atalanta and Bayern Munich. But the thing with Chelsea is I think they are very unpredictable, and that makes them very dangerous as well. They also love being the underdogs going into big fixtures like this. And I think over 2 legs, Chelsea can actually knock PSG out and progress to the next stage. So I predict Chelsea to go through versus PSG. Up next is Real Madrid versus Manchester City. Now both teams sit second in their respective leagues and are both currently in a title race versus Barcelona and Arsenal. But unfortunately for Real Madrid, I think their UCL campaign ends here. I think Manchester City have too many players who can hurt Real Madrid and cause them lots of trouble. Now even if someone like Kylian Mbappe is fit for this game, I still think that Manchester City go through to the next round. I also want to factor in the inexperience of someone like Arbeloa, who is the Real Madrid coach. I don't think he's going to be tactically adept to beating someone like Pep Guardiola. So I think over 2 legs, Real Madrid would actually lose and City would go through to the next round. Now lastly, let's talk about Newcastle versus Barcelona. Now earlier on this season in the group stages, both teams actually faced each other and Barca actually got the win. Now both teams are also missing some key players in that game. For Barca, it was like Lamine Yamal who was missing and a few other players. Right now, Barca looks like clear favourites to win this game and progress to the next round. But however, if Barca do not play to their best level, if they don't give their 100%, I think they're actually going to get knocked out and they're going to struggle against Newcastle. The reason why I say this is because Barca were not at their best level against Atletico Madrid away from home, and they struggled in that game. They conceded 4 goals to Atleti. Now when you look at Atleti and Newcastle, I think they have some similarities between the two clubs. Both Newcastle and Atleti have hostile home atmospheres. They have pacey wingers, they have tall strikers, physical midfielders, physical defenders and tall defenders as well. And all of which can prove difficult for Barca. to break them down. So like I said, if Barca don't play at their highest level, I don't think Barca would actually go through against Newcastle. It's not an easy game that Barca can just be complacent and expect themselves to win and just go through. Now with that being said though, I predict Barca to go through to the next round. I think they have some of the best players in their positions. I think over 2 legs, the quality of those players can actually show and to help Barca to actually progress to the next stage of the Champions League. So those are my thoughts on the Champions League round of 16. Those are my predictions. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.